the only African king who refused to bow to Queen Elizabeth and choose suicide instead. Over the years, Africa has seen the rise and fall of great and fearless kings who did not only upheld their cultures and traditions, but stopped anyone from disrespecting them. One of such great kings is King Ameh, the great king of Igala. The story of King Oboni is a very interesting one. Instead of desecrating his culture and tradition by bowing to Queen Elizabeth II, he would rather commit suicide. You might be wondering what really happened. Well, sit tight because in this video we will give you all the details. King Ameh was born in 1911 in Uwolowo village near Kogi State, Nigeria. As a young man, he became the heir apparent to the Ata throne. Eventually, he ascended the throne and ruled Igala land for 10 years. He expanded the native schools, and the Igala kingdom witnessed economic boom during his reign as king. Apart from being an African traditional ruler, Ata was quite powerful. He could speak powerfully, and his predictions would come to pass. His pronouncements always became reality. Many people were aware of his magical powers, and they marveled at this unique supernatural ability that he had. If someone misbehaved, disobeyed, or disrespected Ata, he had the power to say what would happen to them. He never held back his words when necessary. Whenever he spoke, it happened immediately. As a ruler, Ata's position came with many do's and don'ts. Some of these traditional requirements were quite unusual. As a king, he was not allowed to see dead bodies. He could not eat in public. He could not remove his cap in the presence of people, and he could not shake hands with women. Unfortunately, some of these rules later caused problems for him. There was a meeting in Kaduna, and many traditional rulers were in attendance. Queen Elizabeth II was also present at the meeting. While the other kings removed their caps as they greeted the queen, Ata was reluctant to do so. Unlike others, he could not remove his cap in public, neither could he shake the queen's hands. What was he to do? After much persistence and threat to send him out and dethrone him if he refused to remove his cap, Ata was forced to remove it, and he tried to bow to the queen. He had a lot at stake, and any dethronement would deter his descendants from having any access to the throne. His people perceived him as a mini-god, and bowing to a human seemed like an insult. He eventually accepted to remove his cap, but before he did, he asked another king, the Oba of Benin, to go outside so that what was to happen will not affect him. Ata yielded to the demand, and as soon as he removed his cap, a swamp of bees came out of it. Immediately, the meeting hall was filled with bees. Everyone ran away as soon as this happened. Unfortunately, the bees stung some people, and this brought the meeting to an abrupt end. The queen was unhappy with what happened, and she wanted Ata to be removed from his position as a traditional ruler. It also appeared that he had become tougher and couldn't be controlled. Some of the kings were also not happy with the way the bees attacked them and the unusual manner in which the meeting ended. Some of the kings ran like little children, and some even sustained injuries. The aftermath. After the incident, Ata Ameh was asked to be arrested and handcuffed by the security people, which they did, but the handcuffs fell off his hands. He was later locked up in a room on the instruction of the northern rulers and guarded by the security personnel, but only to find out later by the personnel that he had left the room. Yes, when the security were taking him to be locked up, he told his driver, Ameh of blessed memory, to take the car and be going to Ada while the security locked him in the room. He then warned Ameh not to look back until he felt a cool breeze in the car. Though Ameh argued a little that he cannot leave the Ata there, but later obeyed and started driving back to Ida from Kaduna. After some time, he felt the cool breeze in the car, and Ata was seated inside the car. The incident in the meeting made many traditional rulers, which were mostly northerners, to be angry, especially making kings run in such a manner because of bees. This became one important sin, and it was like one sin too many. The queen and northern leaders started looking for a way to remove Ameh from the throne since he was getting tougher and uncontrollable like others, as well as searching for an obedient replacement. Igala had various cultural festivals, one of which was Ocho. Ocho is celebrated before farming starts, and it is the time that Ata Igala prays to God for sufficient rainfall, bountiful harvest, success in hunting. It is celebrated in the bush, and the venue is called Air Ocho, where the Ata will hunt until he kills a buffalo or a strong animal. The community in Ida, where Ocho takes place, is called Ogo Afa. He performs a little sacrifice to the ancestors using a fowl in the process, and this was to find out if there will blessings or problems in the land after the Ocho. Before this time, the enemies at home, among the Igala people, especially those having connections with the leaders of the northern region, were working hard to get any evidence either true or false, which can be used to remove him from the throne. The blood of the animal used as sacrifice at Ocho ground now became what the enemies would use against him. Petition was written by these two Igala people to the queen and some other northern leaders that Ameh was sacrificing humans during the Ocho festivals. Since they were looking for any means to displace him with, judgment was quickly passed that he must be dethroned, even when investigations were not yet concluded. In addition, all the Igala cultural festivals, including the Ocho, were immediately banned, and this remained for almost 63 years until Governor Yahya Bello unbanned them based on the appeal of the present Atha Igala. Already before this time, the Oba of Benin, who had such friction with the British, had already been dethroned and banished from Benin. So, Afa Ameh knew that at that point, no matter what spiritual approach applied, it can only postpone the evil day, as his enemies will never relent until he was removed by them. The result of the blood sample, which was taken from the Ocho venue and taken to University of Ibadan for analysis, had arrived, and it was proved that it was the blood of an animal and not human. Sadly, the revered king, Ameh, had passed on before the result was brought. But Ameh, being very sure that he was wrongly accused and framed up by his enemies, especially those from Igala, who wrote the petition against him, marking the beginning of his planned dethronement, made some pronouncements before his death. He was allegedly quoted to have said that the person who wrote the petition against him would have that hand dried up, and that the leader of the gang or petitioners would be buried 3 times, and they all came to pass. While the hand dried as said, the other was buried as stated. First was the leg, second was his hand, and the third was himself, all buried at various times at different locations. In addition, as this information of his dethronement was given to him in a meeting from where he was supposed to go back to Ada and prepare to leave the throne, he stopped on the way in another Igala land called Dakina. That was where he committed suicide. Before taking his life, he was allegedly quoted to have said that the town, Dakina, will be popular, but its development will not be as much as its popularity. He was also quoted to have said that because Igala was the genesis of his ordeal, there will be disunity among the Igala people until the reign of his own blood, son as Ada, and all Igalas, irrespective of their locations, will be reunited again. I think from the reconnection and reunification of Igala people across Nigeria and beyond, which has been going on and still going on under the reign of his son, Adabaidu Idakwo Ameh II, the present Atha Igala, that pronouncement of reunification of Igala people is also coming through. Thanks for watching this video, and please subscribe to the channel for more.